The first day of a planned 6-week protest has turned deadly in the West Bank and Gaza. Israeli forces responded with force against rock-throwing Palestinian protesters. At least 7 Palestinians have been killed, hundreds more have been wounded. Palestinian leadership, including Hamas, has called for mass demonstrations leading up to the 70th anniversary of the war that led to the founding of the State of Israel in 1948. Now, most of today's protests are focused along the boundary between Israel and the Palestinian territories in Gaza and the West Bank. Violence flared in Gaza, Jericho, and Nablus. CBC's Middle East correspondent Derek Stoffel has the details from Tel Aviv.
Well, these protests were supposed to be nonviolent. That was the billing from the organizers in the days leading up to the demonstrations. But from the get-go, from early this morning, there was violence, mainly in the Gaza Strip. We've seen some protests in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, but the focus really has been on Gaza. And essentially, we saw tens of thousands of Palestinians come out to areas near the security fence that separates Gaza from Israel. There were tents set up. But what happened is that some of the protesters, mainly young Palestinian men, they pushed forward right adjacent to the area next to that fence. And some of those men were throwing stones and Molotov cocktails at the Israeli forces on the other side. And they responded with tear gas, with rubber bullets, and in some cases, with live ammunition. And that's led to the number of fatalities that we've seen and the more than 1,000 Palestinians who have been injured. And in terms of what is next, this will continue for the next several hours inside Gaza, but this is a new security threat for Israel because the organizers say they want to see 6 weeks of sustained protests on Fridays. They're protesting against the continued Israeli blockade of the Gaza Strip, but also demanding the right of return, that people head to their homes where they had to flee 70 years ago when the State of Israel was created. So it will be a security threat. We've seen more Israeli troops amassed along the border, and the Palestinians are saying that this protest will continue now for the next 6 weeks.